Hi, welcome to the next edition of Watching the Pioneer Meta. This meta definitely looks a little bit better than Standard. If you have not watched the Standard video, go check it out as well. It's on my ECG channel. Link is in the description. This deck definitely looks a little bit more open. But keep in mind the caveat, still not that many decks showing up for the last 2 weeks. So, like, the actual results are still skewed, and we don't really know what this actually looks like if you open this up for a big, gigantic tournament. But if you like this kind of content, make sure you smash that like button and subscribe. The goal is to keep this series going, and that 100% depends on you guys. If by hitting those like buttons and commenting helps this part of my series grow, more people see it. The more people see it, the more likely I'm going to keep doing this, talking about Magic from years to come. So let's get into the meta and discuss the 2 decks that I have today. So we have Red Deck Wins and Phoenix, kind of, and Mono Black Demons. It's kind of the trifecta of Pioneer. It's always kind of thing. There's 3 decks that kind of just like keep each other regulated. So you have your Demons that beats up on Red Deck Wins. Phoenix actually is kind of really rough right now, just because I imagine it's probably good into both of these decks right now, especially since it shorted up a lot of its bad matchups into Red Deck Wins by having Cutter as well. So, like, it used to be, Red Deck Wins beats up on Red Deck, Black beats on Red, Red beats on Phoenix, Phoenix beats on Black, and cycle. Phoenix is clearly having a little bit of an issue because it is on the dip a little bit, so it probably does still struggle against Red, but it still beats up on Black. Black does beat up on Red, and this little triangle. Company is getting a little bit more love in the format. It's gaining a lot of traction. Overall, it does seem like it's a pretty good card into Demons, or deck into Demons, and especially with the stuff like Intruder. It could definitely tempo its way into a win. Control is on the rise again. Pretty sweet to see that. I was been quite worried that the format was just too fast, and Control can't keep up with Red Deck Wins. But it looks like it's making a nice little resurgence on the expense of Junsack. Mono White tokens. I don't know really why this was more of, I guess, a test thing going on to see if the new Elspeth could actually do something. And it has been clearly decided that it's probably not where it needs to be in Pioneer level. Prowess still hasn't really taken off again, because Phoenix is kind of the better version of the deck. So keep in mind these numbers are kind of skewed. It's not like Standard where, like Prowess is the only thing to do, and is it? Phoenix is a really solid deck. And it's been a solid deck since as long as I've been playing Pioneer. Zoria Spirits stays about the same. Lotus Fields gets a slight increase, but basically the same. Mono Blue Helix, I recorded a deck actually, and I'll be talking about it in a little bit. But I recorded this deck again on the ECG channel. If you want to see round 2 of this deck, go sub over there. Demir Rose gaining 2% traction with Orzhov Demons. Jeskai Creativity gets a little bit of a boost. Rakdos Demons just falling off with the Fang and the Prowess. So overall, there's not a lot of shifting. Then again, like I said, these numbers are very, very low. So, I mean, I guess you could say like these 30 is still very, very low. I mean, 48 is probably the minimum. I guess this is really the meta right here. But then again, like I said, you don't really know because Niv doesn't show up in this category. Neither does Incarnation, which is a very popular deck in Pioneer. There's plenty of other decks that just like have been historically a part of the format, like Green Devotion. Where is that deck? You could argue that it's just because Red Deck Wins and Phoenix is prey on them. Phoenix used to be a pretty good matchup for Green, but then Phoenix got Cutter, which probably really made that matchup horrible. So yeah, like a lot of the fan favorite decks are not on this list. It's kind of skewed around these few newer decks. Like people argue that Companies hasn't really been around, but I did see somebody make a post like, "Oh my god, this deck is like classic Pioneer? It's not. Remember, this deck was a breakout deck out of RCDC. I mean, yeah, RC and DC, watching DC. So this was a breakout deck. After the bannings of Malia and everything, this deck just kind of got like top 8, I think. Overall, not a lot of changes. We have 2 decks to talk about. Let's get into those. So this is the deck I played on the other channel. It's going to air towards the end of the season. New caveats. I mean, it does pick up Mox Jasper. And to turn this on, we do play Mutavault and Sanctuary, which actually is not really that big of a deal, because you kind of want to turn these on when you play your Flood Callers to make these untapped, make infinite mana, and just kind of loop it like that. You also have this town ain't big enough to pick up your talents if you want to go that path. We have Stock Up, Sleight of Hand to dig for her combo pieces, Helix. There's many different ways that this deck just combos with Helix. Sometimes it's just as simple as just playing, your Flood Caller, Helix, anything, and just bounce your little 0 drops. That just makes infinite size things with Flood Caller. You also could do the similar thing with infinite combo with Rona, just draw, and I should just keep looping. But this deck does play in Null, is because there is Cutter, which is good against, and also pretty good against Annex. Dispel for protection, Shore Up for protection, into the Flood Maul for basically any kind of hate piece, Ghost Vacuum for graveyard hate. Grinding matchups, you have Deluge, and then you have a Reservoir in case you need an alternative way to win the game. I wasn't really ever sure which matchups you're bringing that in, so if you have any clue why you would be bringing in a card like Reservoir at all, let me know in the comment section. I guess the only thing I could think of is graveyard hate. But is that really even a problem? Like, you're just kind of bouncing the same thing over and over and over again? I guess against aggro is a nice way to make a cushion on your life total. If you can't, then again, you should be able to hit 100%, 50 life there. So I don't know. But we have one more deck to talk about. Let's get to that one. So this is the deck I played on stream. It did not perform all that well. I think it was kind of slow. But I do want to shout it out just because it was a sweet deck in general. We have a bunch of lands. We have our battlefronts right there. As a nice way to get our wedding announcements, getting our Narset, our Grinder, our Talent, Birth. We have Carrot Cake. There's many different things you can get off this battlefront. Even Portable Hole, Unable to Scream, and then Resto. Pretty sweet card to have in the deck. It's a transmog deck to get the Valgafoth, which was ironic. One of the actual matches I did on stream, I ended up drawing both Valgafoths, and I realized I can't really ever cast that from hand because there's no real black mana. We have Authority of the Consuls for aggro. We have Dovid's Veto for control, combo, Intervention for artifact enchantment removal, Rest in Peace for graveyard hate, Narset for draw hate, so it's pretty nice there. Sunfall, nice way to exile all against aggro. High Noon, I did bring this card in quite a bit against aggro-ish shells, just to slow them down enough to hopefully I can maybe stabilize and get a bunch of tokens on the battlefield. Never felt like a great strategy, but it was a strategy. And it's good against Phoenix, it's good against other combo-ish decks. But that's all I have to talk about today. What format? Like I said in the other video, what is your favorite format right now? What's the healthiest format? Because I do think there is a lot to not be desired for when it comes to Magic right now. Standard looks horrible. Pioneer looks a little bit better. But there's no reason to play Pioneer. Modern, I don't really check in on. If you want to see me do a Modern, watching the Modern meta, let me know in the comment section. Or even Pauper, watching the Pauper meta. I don't really know how often you get challenges in leagues. But I definitely could watch the Pauper meta as well. Any other series like that, let me know in the comment section. Those most likely will be on the other channel, because I do want to focus on the other channel more about competitive formats and competitive discussions. But like I said, until next time, hope you guys have a great rest of your day. I'll talk to you guys next time. Shout out to all my supporters. And if you want to see any other content from me, check out either one of these 2 videos and playlist. And I'll talk to you soon.